Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to do a video on which healthcare I prefer. Whether it's the US or the UK. Okay, so I had to make a list, and it's not going to be specific. It's not going to go hardcore into details of what each one is. It's just a brief kind of like understanding, and as far as like my perspective. And I'm going to put out a disclaimer. This is my opinion because this is about my experience with both, because I lived in the US and I live in the UK now. So the first and foremost one that hands down I'm not even going to argue with, it's that there's no additional costs. You know, there's no additional costs. And what I mean by that, in the US, I'm going to use my experience. At my job, I got health insurance, and compared to other jobs, my health insurance was pretty decent. I did have a $5,000 deductible in case I needed a procedure. I had to pay out of pocket $5,000. Then when I go into the doctor, I had to pay a $25 copay. But this is my personal doctor. So this is the doctor that I go to if I'm sick or having a flu. It's not a specialty doctor. And what's really fucked up in the US with some health insurance is that a gynecologist is a specialty doctor. And I don't know about rest of y'all females, but I go to my gynecologist more than I go to my regular doctor. So I was paying out of pocket $50 every time I had to go see the doctor. Whatever procedure I had, whether it was having a baby or whatever have you, I had to pay a certain amount of money out of pocket before they covered everything. And certain tests and certain tests are not covered on your health insurance. So MRI might not be covered in some people's insurance. You have to pay for that out of pocket. So going to the emergency room, you have to pay for that out of pocket. But here in the UK with the NHS, when I go into my doctor's office, I'm not paying them anything. I'm not paying them anything. That part is free. You do have to pay out of your taxes a year for NHS. And before you even leave your comments, because I'm an expat, I have to pay a surcharge. So I paid for my NHS, for me coming here, for me and my son. So don't leave any comments. That really, when you fill out your visa, you're going to go to a website that's going to basically, you plug in all the information that they require, and then they will let you know how much your surcharge is going to be. So everybody is very different. So that's good. That's good, walking into a doctor's office and not having to pay a $50 copay or whatever have you, or being shocked that your insurance didn't cover this test and you need to take this test in order for them to find out if you have cancer or some shit like that. Like, it's very refreshing for me. So that's one of the big reasons why I'm just like, thank you for the NHS. But here in Wales, which is still part of the United Kingdom, because somebody left a comment, was like, stop saying UK because you're in Wales. I'm like, Wales is part of the UK. Whatever. Here in Wales, we don't have to pay for a prescription. So that's number 2 on my list, which I know in England it's different, but in the US you got to pay for your prescription. Sometimes your health insurance doesn't have prescription covered. I know in the US a lot of antibiotics are free depending on where you go. Walmart is, most of the antibiotics are free. Target, Publix, certain ones are free, certain ones are not. It's very good. Whatever prescription I need, I just go to the doctor, I go to the pharmacy, and I pick it up. I don't have to pay anything out of pocket for that. That is like amazing, because when I was pregnant I had to take iron pills and stuff like that, even though you can get iron pills from the store, but they gave me a specific one which is a certain amount of dosage, and I didn't have to pay for that. And I didn't know that because then my husband informed me that in England you have to pay a certain amount of money a month, and it's not even a ridiculous price. I don't know, maybe it's £20 a month. It's not like the US where you got to pay like $80 for a prescription or whatever have you, depending on what it is. Don't even let me get into paying for insulin and how expensive that is, and people need that or they're gonna fucking die. Shit like that needs to be free in the US. Like, if I don't take my insulin, I'm gonna die, but y'all still charging me out the ass for that. Like, drugs like that needs to be free. But here in Wales, we don't have to pay for a prescription. So that's number 2 on my list. Okay, number 3 is appointments. Now, people here in the UK probably are like, I don't want to pay for it. I don't, you know, I might not get the appointment when I need it, blah, 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 blah. The US is somewhere like that. Like, I remember the gynecologist that my best friends were using, they raved about it, and I was like, yo, give me that number so I can call. Every doctor's office you go to in the US, if you're transferring, you need to do a first patient appointment where you got to fill out paperwork and they got to do like a mild review or whatever, what have you. And I remember the appointment scheduling person was like, oh, we don't have an appointment now. Mind you, I'm calling in January. And they were like, we don't have an appointment until March for new patients. And I'm like, March? Jesus Christ. So I know some people are going to complain because I've been on forums and people are just like, oh my God, I can't get an appointment, blah, 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 blah. Here for NHS. As far as my experience, if I call them and I'm saying, hey, this is what's happening, depending on how severe it is, they'll be like, okay, we're going to schedule this appointment. This is what we have available. What I love about it is that my first kind of like appointment, just to kind of do a checkup or whatever, was at 9:30. We got there at 9:28. Like, we was right in the parking lot, we sat down. By the time I walked into that office, before I even sit my ass on that seat, they called my name. Like, you get seen right away. What I love about the UK, as far as like the NHS, I don't need to go through 2 different people then get to the doctor, because that process is long. So in my intentions, my husband's like, oh, it's only gonna take like an hour and a half. He was talking to his job because he had to drop me. And I'm looking at him like, hour and a half? Like, I'm used to being in a doctor's office for more than 2 hours, the whole fucking process. So when we got there, before I even sat down, they called my name. And I noticed the lady had a lab coat, like a doctor's coat. And I'm like, that's weird. So she sat down and I'm just like telling her what it is. And she's like, hi, I'm Dr. So-and-so. I'm like, hi, I'm Shayna. I'm like, oh, am I not seeing like a medical assistant or a nurse to take like my pulse and all this, you know, certain procedures that they do in the US? She's like, no, you see the doctor. So you're cutting out that middle person. You're going to directly to see the doctor, which is, I mean, my mouth just dropped. My husband was looking at me like I was crazy. I'm like, yo, in the US, you make an appointment at 9:30. By the time you sit down, they call you. You got to sign in. They call you. They check your vitals. You go back out in that same room. You wait. When they call you back, they put you into a room. Mind you, there's 5 for my doctor's office. There were 6 different rooms. So they put me into room 3. Now the doctor is doing their rounds, and the doctor could be in 5 going all the way back around. So as I'm sitting in a room waiting for the doctor, I'm waiting another 20 to 15 minutes depending on what cases, you know, what's going on in each room. That's how long it takes. So you could be in the doctor's office for about 2 hours or hour and a half. And I sat down, talked to the doctor. She did check my whole thing. After that, I was done. So we went in there at 9:30. By the time we walked out, it was 9:45, and I legit looked at the time and I was like amazed, freaking amazed. I'm like, never before in my life, never before in my life. And I know some people might not work for them who's been on NHS since they were born, but in my experience in my area, it was a great experience my first time. Let's see. Oh yeah. Okay, so they will see the doctor directly. You're cutting out the middle person. And when I'm talking about the scheduling an appointment, that was my 4th one. So the 5th one is really important. It was important to me. But in the US, I switched doctors twice because I moved to a different area. I went from St. Cloud to Castleberry. And I didn't want to keep the same doctor because that's quite a distance away. That's about like an hour. And what I went through as far as getting my records from one place to the other, from one hospital to the other hospital, was just ridiculous. And that gave me a headache. Even when I got into my car accident and I had to get bills from the hospital, then I had to get bills from the person who did my MRI because that's a separate bill. It was just like, it was a lot. You know what I'm saying? Oh, my battery's running out. It was a lot. So here, NHS is one whole system. So you can go to any hospital within the UK and your records are going to be there. You know what I'm saying? Everything is one system, and it's so efficient because if you forget a procedure, you forget something, your medical history, you know, it's hard to track that down depending on the hospital, depending on your doctor's office. My experience, people that I dealt with in the US was just ridiculous. Here, it's one big system. Doesn't matter where you go within the UK, you're in the system. And you do have to carry a booklet with you when you're pregnant, and they write down everything, so you have that record with you all the time. I don't have it anymore because the day I gave birth, they took that and they put that in their file. But when you have a child, they give you a red booklet for all their shots, they write their notes, and you bring that with you in every appointment. Some people might think it's annoying. At first I was just like, it was annoying to me, and I keep forgetting, and the doctor's like, your booklet, and I'm like, I forgot. But when I think about it, it's such a great idea because I have my son's record. I know what's going on. I'm informed. I have my maternity record. I knew what was going on. I was informed, you know. So that's number 4. Oh yeah, I talked about number 4, number 5, transition from medical 5 to another surgery. So it's because it's all one system, and then having access to your own records because they give you that booklet and you keep it safe within yourself. So those are my top 5 reasons why I prefer the UK healthcare over the US. This is from my experience. These are my opinions. These are the things that I just find really important, which is no additional costs, not paying for a prescription, that appointment, how they schedule things, keeping track of your record, and transferring from one surgery to another surgery. So those are my top 5 things, which I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for the healthcare that I have here because it's one less stress that I have. So I'm very grateful for the healthcare that I have here in the UK, and I prefer the UK healthcare. No questions asked. Absolutely no questions asked. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope if you're moving to the UK and you just kind of wanted to get a brief understanding of how it's different from the US, this was my experience. These are my top reasons why I prefer the UK healthcare over the US. So yeah, bye.